Diamond hands. Hold, never fold. I don't know who you are, but I like you already. Bet. So yes, we're looking at NAS right now, and look, it's been extremely bullish since for a while. Ever since we broke these previous all-time highs, it's been pretty bullish. Price has been giving us more evidence that it wants to go higher, especially after seeing this on the daily chart. Right, this is a daily chart, and price did give us the liquidity buildup that we needed, and then institutions came in, swept all these lows to take out the buyers, and then broke structure to the upside. So once that happens, we have confirmation that price wants to move higher. And the best thing that you can do is you want to go ahead and draw your Fibonacci from the lows all the way to the highs. And if you want to have a discount on purchasing anything, 50% is always going to be the bare minimum pullback, right? And we actually got deeper than that. We got even to the 61%, almost 70% off. Okay. And on top of that, price was even able to fill in some of this inefficiency. So two birds with one stone were taken care of when price pulled back into this area. And if you've been rocking with us for a while, we actually called the buys out back here at 20,000 and 20,500. So these are two entries that you should still be in, or at least participated in, if you've been, online rocking with us. And price, even after buying off of this level of 20,500, these lows were so powerful that it was able to break even more structure to the upside. Right, 21,250. That was the next all-time high, right? And we just broke out of that last week. So that's again more evidence of bullishness. And as we see price continue, I actually called these buys as well. Unfortunately, the buy limits did not activate. It missed it by about 2 pips, 4, yeah, like 10 pips. It was a 10 pip miss, right? Price didn't even get into our zone, but it did fill in the imbalance and took off, which is fine. This is, I think it's about 400. Oh, okay, now 700. It was 700 pip move. 700 pip move. That's okay. Again, this move was able to break these most recent all-time highs here. Okay, and then even after this happened, I was like, okay, well, we can get in on the retest. We can get in on the next setup. And as we see here, as we break it down more, there was more evidence in here. Okay, this is another setup. Again, if you guys are new, you don't know how we look for setups. If you want concrete evidence before you enter any trade, a lot of people, they trade based off emotions, or they have a feeling this is going to happen. But if you want to have concrete evidence, like a lawyer, you want to be a lawyer on these charts. You want to look for the same thing every single time that's going to give you what you need in order to enter the markets. And that's going to be liquidity being built up. You want to see that liquidity being built up, and then you want to see a sweep and then a break above. You're going to see this over and over and over, and the market cannot move up unless this happens. You're never going to see the market move up or down unless you see this setup. And for going down, it's going to be reverse. But for the market to move up, you're always going to see this. I've back tested this for years, and I've never not seen this happen. So, and then after we break above these highs here, you want to mark up the highs and the lows so that when price comes back down into the zone, you're able to enter and take off. So if you look at this, you look right here, it's there. Anytime I see a long wick or a V shape, I know it's this right here. Okay, and what do we have? We had liquidity being built up over and over and over, and then we swept all these lows and then broke above the highs, retested, and then took off. Okay, that was a pretty solid setup, and price flew. It flew. Hasn't come back there yet. And even last week, when all this didn't happen, I was like, okay, price is up here. I wouldn't mind allowing price to come back down and getting more entries, at least back in the zone, or a simple break and retest off of the all-time highs previously, 21,250. We have not gotten that yet, which is fine. We don't know if this is going to happen. It doesn't have to happen. We have no idea. Okay. And even if you draw the Fibonacci from the lows to the highs, which was back here before all this other stuff happened, price didn't even come and give us a 50% discount, which again, it doesn't always have to give you half off, because we all know that with the Fibonacci, when price does move like that and comes down 50%, this is normal. That's very normal, because the buyers came in, they pushed the price high, the sellers came in and were able to push it back down 50%. So it's a 50-50 battle between buyers and sellers. And if sellers can push it even lower, that means the sellers have more strength from this move. So this is a very weak buy. But in this situation, price barely even came down, maybe 30%. So that means the buyers are so strong that they were able to continue pushing price up without even allowing sellers to come in and take half of their profits. So this right here is indicative of a very strong uptrend. Okay, and then all this happened because if you go down to smaller time frames, the same setup here that we saw is going to repeat itself multiple times over here. You see it multiple times. Okay, we even try to catch a move in there as well, but we had price give, especially here, we had liquidity being built up, and then we swept the lows and then broke above. So that's a setup right there. Okay, price did break beneath that, but right underneath this setup, there was another setup in here on the smaller time frames. That's why we have this here. It looks very choppy, but again, this was the setup. All right, we had liquidity being built up, very small, boom, and then we swept the lows, and then we did break above the highs. So this was a play right there. Even though we came a little bit deeper on higher time frames, this is just a wick, right? That's just wicks. It's just wicks. So if it's just a wick, it's fine, because that's just liquidity being swept. Okay, if it's a full body candle close, then yeah, this setup is invalidated. Again, this is it here. This setup will always be valid until it's not. And the way to tell if it's invalidated is if this is your stop loss right here, a full body candle has to close beneath here. A full body candle has to come and close beneath these lows. But if it's just a wick, that's manipulation, and price can easily continue higher. And that's exactly what happened here. So when price was up here consolidating, working its way down, it only worked its way down to give us another setup. Okay, and if this wasn't enough over here, even after price came down, and if you were unsure that, hey, you know what, I'm not sure, this is pretty high up, I'm not sure if this is gonna hold, what you can do is look for another setup to happen with current price action. And I believe my guy La Pampera, we were on the call like a few days ago, and we actually went over this on the live session. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. Yeah, Thursday, December. Yeah, literally. I saw the market was giving us another setup. Okay, it gave us the liquidity. We had a low here and then a high, and then we swept the lows, and then we did break above the highs, right? And then price respected that. It played around, and it did respect it and took off. Very minimal drawdown, and then price flew. And now we're up here. Again, breaking above more highs. This was another high that we just broke above. So that's more indication. Exactly. It swept the previous day low and then took off. Right. Shout out to Chrome. He's a GOAT in here as well. And he introduced the previous month, week, and daily lows and highs. Because if you actually look at those levels, those are key areas of liquidity. Right? Those are very key areas of liquidity. The previous month highs and lows The market, especially NAS, loves to sweep the previous day's lows, highs, and then continue higher. It loves that. It loves that. So if you stick with us and you see how time goes on, you will notice that. You'll see it over and over and over. And if you look here, this was again, you guys may get annoyed of me because I'm going to draw the setup every fucking day, respectfully. You're going to see it over and over and over, right? Until it's embedded in your mind. But we had, again, liquidity being built up, all this right here, right? Liquidity being built up. We swept all these lows and then we broke above these highs. This is the same thing. It may not look as pretty because we are on a smaller time frame, but when you go up time frames, it looks different. But again, this is all liquidity, and then price swept the lows, and then we did break above. So that's the setup. So if price does come back down into these areas, I wouldn't mind taking that. I would not mind taking that. And again, you can always draw the fib from the lows to the highs, just to make sure you have a discount. And again, it doesn't always have to come here. Sometimes price will just fly. It'll just fly, right? But it's so simple. It's so simple. 4 years of trading and learning all the strategies, learning trend line, learning Fibonacci, learning RSI, learning smart money, all these, I narrowed it down to what's the most important, which is going to be this. This is what you need to see. And you will see this every time in the market. It's going to boost your confidence. You're going to be able to take your trade with confidence because bro, this is the setup. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. On to the next. But this right here will change the game for you. It'll change the game, I'm telling you. Even here, last week on Friday when the market was closing, if someone tells you they see a butterfly, gartly, a giraffe, bro, I hate, what is that called again? Harmonics? Man, that's just so confusing. And it's 20 different ones. Bro, what? No, I'm cool off that. But even last week when I saw this, price was consolidating. It was Friday. Market was about to close, doing its thing. It's hard to tell, but there was a setup in here. Right, we had liquidity, we had a low, with that wick, and then we had a high with this wick, and then price swept the lows, and it tried to break above here, but that was a wick. That does not count. That's just a liquidity sweep. You even tapped into this imbalance. Okay, boom, sold off, nice. And then when price sold off, it just came to fill in some of this imbalance, and this imbalance was used to take price higher, and then we did break above these highs. Once that happened, you mark up the highs that were broken at the wick, and then I marked up the stop loss, which is down here. I didn't take this trade because it was already Friday. I'm already done for the week. And then price played around and respected that. So look, price can even respect this. It doesn't even have to come back down lower. We don't know what it wants to do. Until this setup gets violated with a full body candle close beneath this stop loss, then I have to respect the setup because, at the end of the day, structure is structure. And structure kind of keeps you from making emotional decisions because it's do you see the setup? Oh, you don't? Okay, so why are you taking the trade? It's like accountability. And that's what I want to build with you guys as well. When we share charts and trades in the chat, I want to see that you have the setup. I want to see that you have this. If you have the setup on your chart and you say, hey, Will, any feedback, but you don't have this, that lets me know that you're just randomly marking stuff up, which is fine. Everyone goes through that, and it's going to take time for you to understand this. But how I know that you know what's going on is when you actually have the setup. You marked up the lows, you marked up the highs, right? You have the stop loss, you have the setup there, you know what's going on. That's gonna, again, it's gonna create that confidence. So the market does open here in the next 45 minutes, okay? And when it opens, I wouldn't be surprised if price came back into this area and then continued higher. We don't know what it's going to do. Let's check the 4 hour real quick. Let me delete all this. The 4 hour. It does. It does have a very nice setup. Clean. Clean. Again, all this liquidity. Lows were swept. And then we did break above. Right? So I would, the lower the better. Buy low, sell high. The lower the better. I would not mind taking these buys here. I would not mind that at all. And the reason why is because on NAS, it's pretty high up, right? So anytime price is like super high, you have to be aware that it's a high risk trade because price is very high. We are at all-time high, so you have to always keep that in mind, okay? Especially when you go to higher time frames, like the weekly, it's pretty high up there. So any trades you take at this level, you have to understand that it comes with more risk because again, you want to buy low and sell high. It comes with more risk, but if you stick to the setup, you should be fine. You should be good. The reason why I went over this is because on NASDAQ, it is pretty high up, but then when you look at something like US 30, price already moved, down significantly. And right now, until these lows get violated, which I hope they do, because we have a gap here that was barely filled in, but there's a gap here that hasn't really been touched. And if you look down here at US 30, we have this liquidity, right? We sweep the lows, and then we do break above the highs. Right, we do break above the highs. So if we ever came back down here, I wouldn't mind taking those plays. Wouldn't mind taking that. And then if it doesn't make it down here, there's another one over there. There's another one here. We have the liquidity being built up. We sweep the lows, break above the highs. So these are two options. These are two options that I'm looking at. I'm looking at this area here at 44 and 43.5. But we don't know if price is going to go down there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we have another setup right here. And again, it's not always going to look pretty. So you have to be able to identify. I always look for like that V shape. Anytime I see a V shape, I'm like, okay, I'm going to look left. Is there liquidity? Okay, we swept the liquidity. Okay, I see the V. Do we break above highs? Oh, we did. Okay, boom. That's the setup. Okay, the same thing here. We had liquidity being built up. I'm going from low to high on the wicks, right? The wicks do matter, right? And then we sweep these lows, and then we did break above these highs right here. So this is the overarching setup, right? This was the setup that's up here just hanging. So until we see a full body candle close beneath here, technically you could still take these buys, but I'm just not going to because I don't mind being patient. I would have been, oh, thank you, my guy. Appreciate you. Similar markup on US 30. Let me see. Oh, yes. See, we got the same thing. We got the same thing, Chris. See, great minds think alike. Yes, sir. Takai, I got you. I got you. So we'll see what happens here when the market does open. Like, technically, this is still valid. But again, this low is the previous weekly low. So if you go to the weekly chart, okay, and you look at the previous week, so if the market opens, we're going to have a new weekly candle, right? So this low is the low from last week. And so is this one. These are both previous lows. Okay, so if price sweeps these lows and then continues, I would not mind. Same thing here. This low was a low, right? This was a previous low. We swept the lows, filled in the imbalance, and then took off. If you look down here, at one point, this was a low. Okay, we swept the lows, taking the liquidity, and then took off. You're going to notice that a lot, right? This was a low here, right? These were lows. Price came in, swept the lows, took off. Lows right here, swept it, took off. That's going to happen. That's going to happen a lot. It's going to happen a lot. Always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind, especially on higher time frames. And looking at this chart right now and the way this candle closed, very bearish. We have this gap here. You know, it would make sense if we came back in here, filled it up. Does it have to do that? It doesn't have to. We don't know. But it's just something to be prepared for just in case it does. And we are. Right? We have our buy limits here. We have one down here. And I was very tempted to take this trade last week, especially after seeing the original setup here. We had this again, sweep, break above. Okay. But that wasn't convincing enough for me. So anytime I'm not fully convinced or I'm not sure, I want to see another setup happen again inside, which we did. We saw this right here. We saw price building up liquidity. We swept the lows. We tried to break above with the wick. Didn't happen. Sold off. Tried again. Another wick. Sold off. Finally, we broke above. Finally. So when price came back down, we could have taken that. I was very tempted. I was like, okay, cool. I should probably take this. But then again, we're very high. So I was waiting for a third setup. I was like, okay, its price is here. This is the hourly chart. I want to see another setup. I want to see price do it again. But we didn't. We actually gave the sell setup right here, which is suspicious. We had the liquidity being built up. We swept the highs first, and then we came below. So that's not what I want to see if I'm looking for buys. I don't want to see that. So this is why I'm like, okay, price may continue lower, because we ended off last week giving a sell setup. So we'll see. And then SPX looks the best. SPX looks the best, to be honest. This setup is textbook. This is a textbook right here. Literally clean. Look at this liquidity being built up right here. Super clean. Sweep it, break above. S&P has been my baby for the past couple of days. Sheesh. Okay, Ralph. I'll be waiting for the setups. I'll be waiting. I'll get in there with you. But this is textbook right here. This is clean. Appreciate that. This is clean. So if and when price does work its way down, I do not mind taking this. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Do not mind that. So we'll see what happens. And that's why I'm kind of hesitant to take NAS or SPX right now. Because NAS or US 30, because I want to see SPX first. If anything, I would prioritize SPX with these entries and then let NAS and do I trade the lagger? I trade all three. I don't really care which one is lagging or not lagging. Like they all do their own thing. They all have a mind of their own. It's all a different asset. US 30 is 30. 500. SPX is 500. NAS is only 100. So it's just different. It's different. I trade all three. Sometimes they'll hit at the same time. Sometimes they'll hit at different times. It doesn't matter. I do not discriminate. I don't discriminate. But yeah, we have some news. Yeah, we have some news coming up too this week. Yeah, core CPI, PPI. Yeah. So that's gonna give us some more volatility in the market. So again, I don't mind being patient. We are at all-time highs. See, you see all this right here? The dollar, I'm not sure about that. I used to think so, but not anymore. Liquidity, sweep, break above, retest, gone. And the reason why I don't use the dollar, I just how I love my woman. I hear you. The reason why I don't use the dollar anymore is because if the dollar truly was like, what is it called? Like the inverse pair of indices, then wouldn't the dollar look just like SPX but in reverse? Like if the dollar was truly like the opposite of SPX and US 39, wouldn't the dollar look like this? Let's see. Wouldn't the dollar look like that? The dollar does not look like this. So they say, oh, if the dollar goes down, indices go up. Okay. So why doesn't the dollar look like this? It doesn't. It does not look like that. It doesn't at all. And on top of that, if you go to, let's say, the 12-month chart, which is every candle is worth 1 year, right? Just to make the chart even more clean. That means the dollar should have a bearish candle for the whole year like this. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. It doesn't. It doesn't. This is the dollar. So it's very hard for me to sit here and stand on business and be like, yeah, the dollar is the inverse correlation of NAS. Like, bro, how? How? The dollar is going up just like NAS. So to me, that's just cap. That's cap. I like to look at the chart that's in front of me. If I'm trading the dollar, I'm trading the dollar. I'm not going to look at 16 other things to help me correlate the dollar. Like, no. If I'm trading NAS, I'm trading NAS. If I'm trading S&P, I'm trading S&P. Sometimes I'll look at other things just to see if they're moving in a similar fashion, because they're indices. Sometimes I'll look at Bitcoin and XRP to see, but it doesn't mean I'm going to base my trade based off that. Like, this is Bitcoin and this is XRP. Shout out to XRP. Man, I've been holding XRP at 20 cents for 4 years now, since like down here, and it finally took off. So I'm like all in with XRP. I took money out of Bitcoin to put in XRP, which is crazy, but that's how much I believe in it. Bitcoin is just gone, right? Bitcoin's gone. I believe there was a setup here that I saw on the 4 hour. Yeah, man, I literally got pissed off last week because I marked this up and I was waiting. Like, I had marked it up and the next day it literally hit the zone and took off. Like, I didn't even set my buy limits because I didn't even think that price could move this fast. Like, this wick you see all happened on the 1 minute chart. Like, this was a 1 minute wick. You had 1 minute to get in. Unless you had buy limits here, you did not even, no, it didn't work. And again, this is the setup as well. This is the setup. Look how clean price came into the zone. Look how clean this was. We had liquidity from this low to that high. We swept the lows, broke above with a full body candle, retested like 12 times, and then took off. So that was your first entry. If you missed that, it even came back down to your zone, gave you another entry. And if you missed that, there was another one. Came down for the third time. Didn't even hit the stop loss. And then took off again. 3 opportunities. 3 opportunities to catch that. From 90K to 100K. That's 10,000 pips. 10,000 pips. All based off the same setup that we've been looking at the whole time. And there's another one here as well. We have liquidity, right? We have the low of this wick, the high. Yeah, we definitely swept like deep, and then we finally broke above right in here. So now price is hovering around, these areas, giving us entries to continue riding price. And then if you look closely right here, there's another setup. We have, again, lows, low, high, sweep, break above. Several retests. So price, don't be surprised if price flies from here. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Every time the market moves, it's because of that. And really quick, let me show you guys how serious this is. This is what, 2022, 2023? Look at this area right here. This is going to blow your mind. It's going to piss you off because it definitely pissed me off. All right. But we had liquidity, sweep, break above, retest, gone at 20,000. And I'm going to mark it up for you on the weekly so you see more in detail. Okay, we broke above these highs right there. Price came in, swept these lows. Stop loss would have been right here. So you mean to tell me we had lows here, we had a high, we swept the lows, we broke above, retested, filled in the imbalance, gone. Gone. Price cannot move up without doing this first. It just can't. Price has not come back ever since. And even if you look back here, before the initial bull run, when I first started learning how to trade, was back here. Literally like right here, August 30th, 2020. Like right there. Right? What does this look like right here? What does this look like? I see the V shape. Okay. I see the V shape. We broke above these highs. Right here. We swept these lows. I wish I had someone to break it down for me like this when I first started. Because I would have been able to catch all these moves. All right, we had the low, the high. We swept, broke above, right here. Retested, and then gone. Gone. From, what is this, 10K all the way to 69? Bruh, why is no one teaching that? Why are people making it so hard? That's all they had to say. That's all they had to say. That's it. That's it. But you go on YouTube, you take all these courses, people are trying to make trading so freaking hard. Like, why? And the reason why is because they don't know what the fuck they're doing either. If you can't explain it to where a fourth grader can understand it, you don't know what you're doing. You're just saying stuff to sound smart. You're just saying it. No, this whole session is being recorded, by the way. Every session I do will be recorded and I'll post it on YouTube just for accountability. And if anyone wants to go back or if they missed it, it'll all be on YouTube. Just disclaimer for you guys. Exactly. The setup has to be so easy that a retard. Oh, gosh. That's crazy. That's crazy. And then XRP. Same thing. This is why I stood on business with XRP. This is why I stood on business. Because even though it looks like crap, the setup is there. Look at this. I'm looking at this little V shape. I need like this spike down. Anytime I see a spike down and a push up, I know a setup is in there. These lows were swept, right? And then we broke above these highs. That's the setup. Liquidity, low, high, sweep the lows, try to break above, couldn't even get up there, and then we finally did with this body candle. And then price came all the way back down, even touched the stop. It touched right here. Didn't touch the stop loss, but touched this, and then flew. And then it just flew. It flew away. And then it continued to consolidate for years. But guess what? It was still respecting the setup. The setup was never violated. So this whole time when price was consolidating, just keep loading up. And you see this move here? They're like, oh, how did this happen? How did the price move like that? Oh, let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look. Guarantee you there's a setup on here. Guarantee you. We had liquidity being built up right in here. It's nasty. Liquidity being built up, right? We swept the lows, broke above the highs, retested, gone. 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 And even in here, I'm sure, I'm positive that there was even more confirmation in here, which there is. 100%. Let me go down to the 1 hour. It's definitely in there. It's always gonna be in there. I've never seen price not give it before taking off. dang. They just gave it over and over and over again. That's crazy. That's crazy. But again, right here, we had lows, a high, we swept it, and then broke above, like right over here. Came back for the retest, gone. You will always see this on every chart, every stock, every crypto, every metal, oil, everything. Everything. Speaking of oil, real quick. Some parts didn't because the screen was loading. No worries. Speaking of oil, I've been waiting for oil for like over a year now. I've been waiting for this setup. Ever since the pandemic, it went to zero and then it flew. I was like, dang, I'm not gonna buy up here. But what did it do? This is the monthly chart. We had liquidity being built up, and then we swept the lows and broke above these highs. So I'm waiting for price to come back in there. I'm waiting for price to hit 65, between 50 and 65. I'll be looking for it, and I don't know. This is a pretty big range, so once it does come in here, guess what? Wait for the setup to happen again to confirm. Wait for that confirmation. Okay? Because the market moves. When people draw the market, whoa. Yeah. Let me minimize this. When people draw the market, they draw it like this. It goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. Right? Which it does. That's very true. But you have to understand how it goes up and goes down. So if I go over here and draw it with a black line, this is how it actually moves. Before it even goes up, it has to do this. Boom, and then go up. It gives you the setup. Oh. It always gives you the setup first. It gives you the liquidity. And we sweep the lows and break above, retest, and then it goes. That's how it actually moves. So you have to be aware of that. And then vice versa for the sells. Okay, and then if you want to have more confidence, let's say you see this on the chart, and then price is coming back down, but you're like kind of scared. Maybe it's coming down too hard. It's really selling off hard and fast, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of scared. I don't feel confident in taking this. That's fine. What you do is wait for price to do it again in the same area. That's how you know. That's how you know. This is your confirmation right here. Because just because you have your setup marked up and it's all clean and you have your lines, that doesn't mean that this has to be respected. This can easily get clapped. So what you do is you wait for it to happen again to confirm, like, okay, this is a valid setup. That's a valid setup. Exactly. Mitigation. This is essentially right here. This red line that broke, this is the break. This is the break, and then this is the retest. But this is the retest broken down on a smaller time frame. Right? This is the retest broken down. It's the mitigation. It's just broken down on a smaller time frame. And this can happen on top of the zone. If I draw the lines across, the second confirmation can happen at the top of the zone. It can happen in the middle of the zone, or even at the bottom. You can even hit the stop loss with a wick and give it to you right there. A strong break or change of character will always leave an inefficiency in an order block at the original source of the move. Exactly. And if you want to get more technical, an order block is nothing more than this setup. If you look at an order block on like the 4 hour or whatever time frame, and then you go down to a smaller time frame and look at it, It's literally the setup. It's the setup. And a prime example of that is on NASDAQ on the 4 hour. I was looking at this earlier. NASDAQ 4 hour right here. This is an order block, right? This last selling candle before the push up that broke structure. Okay, so this is an order block. Remember this line here, or I can even highlight it. You're gonna see how it looks on the smaller time frames. You're gonna see right now, watch. Boom, let's go down to the 1 hour. Okay, and then 30 minutes. Awfully familiar. This looks awfully familiar. What is this? The same thing. We have the liquidity, sweep, break above, retest, gone. Right? Every order block you see is the setup, because we're marking it up from the high to the stop loss, which is the wick. That's your whole range. Okay? So if I put a line here and then another one down here, and then make sure this is visible on all time frames, and then go back to the 4 hour, you'll see. Maybe this one was a little bit low, but that's the whole move in itself. That's the whole move. That's your whole range that you're looking for. Okay, so again, market is gonna open in 20 minutes here. Again, if you guys are brand new, I highly encourage you, if you want to start making money while you're learning, go ahead and open up a broker with FX Sway, deposit $100, and let's trade it together. We can grow the account. I can show you guys the possibility of how to trade. You can swing trade it with me, or position trade it, so you guys can see what you can do with that. Right? I've done several of these challenges in the past, and we've quadrupled, quintupled the account within a month. Right? It's not hard. And once you do that, it's gonna increase your belief level, because you'll see it happening right there in front of you. You don't need to put $1,000 or thousands of dollars in there. You can, like, if you have that capital, go ahead. You can do either or. But let's say you're brand new, you're still learning, put $100 in there, and I will give you guys the setups. It'll always be the same setup. Let's trade it together. Let's grow together. Let's become certified snipers. Let's run this shit up. All right. Let's get it. Yeah, create it today. FX Sway. We're gonna trade NAS Mini only because if you have $100 account trading NAS regular, your account's gone and quick. With NAS Mini, every dollar that NAS moves, you're either making 1 cent, 10 cent, or with regular NAS $1. This is all based off the lot size. But I'm gonna show you guys trading 0.01s, maybe some 0.10s on NAS Mini, how you can flip your account or grow it, compound it over time with confidence, trading the same setup. Okay, because I want to look back 10 years from now and be like, yeah, I'm still holding NAS from down here. Yeah, I still have my position open from down here. Yeah, still holding. Right? Exactly. Because it's like when you buy a stock, it's like when you buy a stock, you're holding that stock for years. And NAS is technically a stock. It's a ETF, QQQ or like FTech, whatever. And if you're holding those, I'm still holding FTech as well, but those, I'm still holding those from like 4 years ago. So imagine being in a leveraged position. Imagine buying a QQQ stock, and then also trading it and holding it, and then buying an option for like 5 years out. Like it's the same concept, but now we're just doing it with leverage. So that's what I want to do. I want to look back years from now and be like, yeah, I'm still in that position. I bought NAS at 20K. I'm still holding. Now it's at 40K. Yeah. And imagine having like 100 positions, all 0.01s on NAS, just holding that, all up 20 bands each, 100 positions. That's kind of how I envision it. That's how I see it. That's how I've always seen it. That's where I want to go with this, right? I want to change the game. I want to create more position traders, more swing traders, because if you the fees, they're not even bad. It's like 7 cents. It's a swap fee of like 7 cents per day, but you're up way more than that. So it's not even it's not gonna hurt. The FX way is awesome, super solid. But yeah, that's it for me. Unless you guys have any questions or any other charts that you want to look at, we can mark up any chart. I'm gonna look for the same thing, the same setup, starting from the higher time frames and work my way down. But I'll stay on here for the next. Oh, Ethereum. Let's go. ETH. And gold. Yeah, I got you. I got you for gold as well. Let's go down to the higher time frame first. ETH. Yeah, I always start on the 12 month, and I always mark up like the highs, and I try to use the horizontal line and find like either a whole number or a quarter level. So 48. Let's see, 5K. All-time high here is like 48.75. So 48.75. That's a quarter level, right? That's a very significant level that we have to break above to continue. We did just break above this level at 38.75, essentially. Okay. So from here, from these previous highs to the all-time high, that's about, what, 1,000 away, right? Super solid. So going down to the 1 month. Okay, now I'm looking for the setup. I'm looking for potential setups as well. And I already see one here. In order for me to be convinced that Ethereum wants to break all-time highs, we need to break above these highs right here. And the reason why is because this will complete the setup. Setup has 4 stages. 25% of the setup is the liquidity. This is 25%. 50% is when we sweep the lows. 75% is when we break above the highs. And 100% is when we come back down and take off. So right now, if you look right here, we're almost there. We have the liquidity being built up. We swept the lows, tapping into this order block as well. And then we're waiting for price to break above these highs. Once that happens, I wouldn't mind taking some buys to continue. And again, if you want to draw the fib, you can even go from this order block here or these lows, but I'm going to use this order block. You can wait for the pullback 50%, whatever you want to do, or wait for another setup to happen like inside of here. There's an order block here that can be mitigated. There's an imbalance here. We don't know what it wants to do, but it's all available. I know it's always going to be a bigger zone. I know a lot of people want to have like a 10 pip, 20 pip stop loss. I used to be the same way, but especially with crypto indices and metals, you got to give it some room to breathe because you're going to get stopped out a lot. And then you may lose confidence. Like, man, I got stopped out 3 times already. And then you lose confidence. You don't take the trade and then it actually goes your way. But if you had under leveraged and gave it some room to breathe, you would still be in that trade. So that's why I like to give myself some breathing room. And then as far as right now, like currently, do we have any setups happening currently? I do see. I see this one here. Let me go down, break it down real quick. This was one that took price higher. And there's one here as well, but this was very clean. broke above these highs. Stop loss would have been this wick. That was clean. We had liquidity being built up, right? We swept it and we broke above. And then we came all the way back down. Back into the zone. Gone. Flew. Simple. Easy. And then now we're looking here to see what's going to happen. What's happening now. And the closest one I see is probably this one right in there. This one, and I also see one here potentially, but this was probably a little bit better. Let's go down to the 30-minute. We have liquidity being built up right there. We swept the lows, broke, and then flew. So if price comes back down to, what is this, another quarter level, 3875, which just so happens to be inside of this imbalance. That's solid. That's a solid area to take. And if we draw the fib, what happened? We came down to the 618 perfectly, filled in some of this imbalance, and then price proceeded to push to the upside. Let me see. It proceeded to push to the upside, and now it's giving us another setup right here. Again, I'm always looking for that V, and then I look to see if he broke structure, which we did right here. Okay. And then the stop loss is here. So to take continuation buys of Ethereum to possibly break the all-time highs of 48.75, this can be that trade that takes us there, right? But you have the patience to hold that. You know, that's another thing. You gotta have the patience for that. But this is the most recent setup that we see. Okay, so I would be looking to take buys around 3,990. Pretty big stop loss, but that's okay. Just under leverage. You don't have to go crazy 10 lots on the first touch. Under leverage, let it play around. You may be in some drawdown. It may be one day you have drawdown, the next day you're in profit. One day it doesn't matter. That's all emotional damage to get you to lose your confidence, to then pull out. But that's what we're waiting on for ETH. To continue the move up, we can either take this setup, or if it comes lower, I wouldn't mind taking the one down here. And look, if it even comes back all the way down here, that's fine. I don't care if it comes back down here. I'll take that one too. I don't care. If I get clapped up here, cool. Take the L. Take a loss like a boss. I get clapped here, whatever. But then it comes lower, boom. That's fine. I don't mind getting clapped, especially if I'm going in the direction of the market. Like, sometimes you may have to lose a couple buys, and then you catch that lower one that just takes you to the next level. Right? And then gold. Let's look at gold real quick. What is gold talking about? Yeah. Gold is nasty. This actually pissed me off too, because I was looking at this for a while, but I wasn't trading gold as much as I do now. But look at this. Liquidity for months. This is the monthly chart. This is months, years. Build up. We sweep the lows. Break above the highs. Retest. Gone. That's why gold flew the way it did, because it's been building liquidity for years. And then finally took off. Finally took off. But let's go closer. Me personally, I'm looking at gold down here. I want to catch it down here at this setup, but I don't know if it's going to make it down there. Liquidity, sweep, break above. I'm waiting for that retest to go higher. We don't know if it is going to come down there, especially after this wick. We came so low and we filled in this imbalance right here. So this may be it. We'll see, especially since we did break structure to the upside here, above these highs here, above these highs here, and above these highs. Like we broke structure several times to the upside. Yes, we did give a sell setup here. Price could sell off. That's fine. But overall, I still want to be able to catch the buys that continue. So we'll see. It's been in the zone here playing around. Let me go down to the 1 hour real quick just to show you. This was a setup that I was looking at right here. Liquidity, sweep, break above. Retested several times. So this whole area to me is valid. All this. So it's kind of struggling right here. So we may come lower. We'll see. And then when we do zoom in, there's another setup right here currently. So we'll see if this gets respected. Liquidity, sweep, break above, retest. So we'll see what happens here. Do we fall lower, or do we respect the structure here to continue? Very, very, very curious to see. We'll find out though. We'll find out. We'll find out. Silver, very similar. Take this off. Very similar. You caught the sells after your buys? Yeah. 100%. Like, there's always opportunities to catch the plays in both directions. I always stick to the trend though. The trend's always going to be your friend for sure. For sure. Sheesh, this was clean too. Didn't even see that. Broke above these highs. Nasty. Boom, liquidity. Swept. Broke above. Came back. And then this here too. I'm literally just seeing this right now. All right, we have liquidity. Sweep. Break above. Boom. All we gotta do is wait for the setup to happen here. Again, to confirm. Gone. Because I wanna catch silver back to the all-time highs. 35, I believe. I believe that's the highs. Let me see the month. No, it's 50. Yeah, it's 50. But I did want to catch at least from like 30. I wanted to catch it from 30 to 35. So we'll see what happens. See what they want to do. See what they want to do. I have my alerts ready to go though. Have them ready to go. Solana. Let's check it out. Geez, I almost gave up on Solana because like we went below the opening price. Like price opened up right here and then we went below it. Like almost to zero. And I was like, damn, bro. Like, is it done? I've never seen that happen where price goes below. So once I saw price go beneath here, I kind of just stopped looking at it. But that was a mistake because it did give more setups down here. Like this was nasty. Nasty. Look at this. Liquidity. Swept the lows. Broke above the highs. Retested. Filled in the imbalance. Gone. Gone. Like this is too clean. You can't beat this. You just can't, because structure is structure. There can't be any market without structure. Like this is not possible. And that thing just flew. No drawdown. Easy. Look at that. So yeah, Solana's gone. It's about to smack all-time highs. It already did, but it's about to really confirm it. 260. Yeah, 260. I'm gonna do 250 just to keep it like quarter levels, like 25, 50, 75, 3. You know, just regular. Even though it's not fully there, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Got to keep it congruent, right? So we're essentially there at all-time highs. So once we do break above, because as I see now, price, we just came to fill in some of this imbalance. Right there, that was the structure we broke above. Came back for that retest, gone. So once we do break above, I don't mind catching buys here at the all-time highs and letting it give a setup. Boom. To continue. I mean, I'm not good at predicting where price wants to go, but this is all-time high. So at that point, like, it's uncharted territory. So if I'm looking at something that has uncharted territory, all I do is go based off structure. If I see a structure shift to the downside, then yeah, I'll take some profits. Like, as of right now, as long as I keep seeing higher highs and higher lows, then so it's gonna keep going higher. But as soon as I see structure shift to the downside, people, oh, I can't call the highs, or I can't call the top, or I can't call the bottom. You actually can if you wait for structure. So let's say price is giving you higher highs and higher lows, and you're like, dang, I want to call the top. I want to catch the sell. In order for you to do that, structure has to shift to the downside. And instead of making a higher high, it makes a lower low and breaks beneath these lows. That's how you know the market's shifting, especially on higher time frames. Because if you mark up every high, right, you mark up every high and every low, you're going to notice. If you mark up the low here, these lows shouldn't have been broken. If this was a true uptrend, you would have made a higher high, a higher low, and then a higher high. But instead, we broke beneath the lows. So that's a structure shift to the downside. But the reason why I don't like to play against the market, against the trend, is because, yeah, we may have broken beneath these lows, but what about these? And then these, and these. So we don't know how far price wants to go, because once a low gets tapped or swept, it can easily reverse and keep going higher. So if you do take counter trend trades, you got to be super careful and super strict with your stop loss, because price can easily reverse on you, especially with crypto, gold, and indices. Yeah, super careful. Super careful. But yes, Solana is in uncharted territory. You don't know where it wants to go. But based off people's market cap predictions, you can look at the market cap and predict price from there if you want. I just go based off structure. Whatever the structure tells me, that's what I'll do. It's concrete evidence. I'm not guessing. I'm not, oh, I feel like it's going to do this. Oh, I feel like, nah. What does structure say? Oh, okay. Bet. Yep. So that's that. The market is open. Let's look at NAS real quick. What is NAS doing? Still bullish. Opened up with a bullish candle. We'll see. I mean, it's very bullish. The setup is still here. It could still respect this. It can very well easily respect this. So we'll see. There's a lot of buying setups here. And even if it does come lower, we have all this here. Liquidity, sweep, break above, boom, wait for another setup, confirmation, gone. That could happen. Or if it wants to come lower than that, I don't mind. This is the previous all-time high, 21,250. Definitely wouldn't mind catching the buys back down here as well. So we'll see what happens up in here. And if that fails, if this structure fails, we have more support down here, more structure down here. All right. But that's it for me. It's been real. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Market recap at 2 p.m. when the market does close. And then Wednesday we'll be trading live. So have your accounts ready. Have your FX Sway account connected to Trade Locker. I'll be sending in my markups here in the chat. You guys do the same thing. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's send in markups. Let's make this money and change. Let's change situations. All right. But let's get it.